Good afternoon, all. I was challenged and invited by our friend here, Kent and Charles, and Dana, which I didn't see, so I'm missing her. But I was challenged to talk about the idea of food versus fuel. And for sure, as renderers, I'm not going to talk about corn or anything. I will address render product, sure. And what product can I can I see as a potential food? Fats. So I'm not going to address meals because meals is not food properly, just fats, okay? So as Ken told, I'm the technical director of the WRO. What is the WRO? For the ones that don't know, we started working since 1999. Sure, BSC crisis. When you have a huge problem, everybody start working together. And this was a huge problem. That's why the WRO was created. And we represent the rendering sector worldwide in just one voice, for sure. So what are our members? NARA from US, several European national associations, Australia, Brazil, Mexico render associations. So we represent the associations worldwide. And what we do as an officers, the officer decide what we have to do, and we do it. And this is where the WRO is spread. Not so surprising, is the most mainly the exporting countries of rendered meals, the countries that produce and must have access to foreign market. So I will address you production and demands of fats. Before doing that, I would like to let it very, very clear, without the collaboration of all of our members, these numbers would not be able to be collected. With NARA, Canada, Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, and all Europe, these numbers would not be possible. And because we are working together, we managed to have it maybe first time in our history. So before going to fats, we are renders, and we have to know that livestock production have changed. The purpose about production changed. We used to have fat animals. We used to produce a lot of lard. And no, now we want muscle animals. We want high carcass yield. We want to produce lower byproducts. We want to increase the yield of the slaughtered animals. And mainly, most of country are looking after low fat and protein contents in the byproducts. Why? Because if you are a nutritionist, having fat in the belly, it means that you are not efficient. The fat must be at the eatable part of the animal and no longer in the rendered part of the animal. If you have a lot of fats inside the belly, means that or you have not a proper genetics or you don't have a proper nutrition. You have to lower the amount of fat to lose in the process. This is energy. Dr. Aburu just mentioned that energy is the most expensive ingredient. So you have to save it and you have to use it in the best way. Sure, husbandry, welfare, health, nutrition, everything changed all over the years. But genetic is driving. When my father used to raise pigs, this was the animals we used to raise. Today, these are the animals. Forget it. What we had in the past is one thing, what we have today is completely different. Other world, completely different. As Kent mentioned, we produced 1961, 35 million tons of vegetable and animal fats. Animal fats was half of the world production of fats. Just one little detail. 1961, whaling was still up. 20% of these animal fats used to be whale oil, spermaceti oil. So if we consider nowadays, we're talking about 11% of the animal fats, including fish, is the share of us in the world position, production. Just for you to have an idea, the meat production increased 5% during this year, 5 times during this year, and fat production 1.8 times. Just this little difference, just for you to realize how the genetic and the amount of fat produced changed over the years. So, what can we talk about fats pricing perspectives? Again, 60s, beauty, hygiene, cleaning, and others used to be our main market. Then food, fast food started growing a lot. But at the 90s, they dropped very, very fast. And then we have a surplus of oil. And what happened with feed and pet food? They start growing, and now it seems they're lowering a little. And sustainable fuels, they are growing. What happens in these 15 years? A huge surplus of animal fats. Just for to have an idea, in Brazil, this period, if we consider the convert to US dollars, the price was a quarter of what it used to be before the 90s. A quarter drop. And real numbers, this was the Brazilian price before our biodiesel program. 2007, our national program of biodiesel started, and after that, other level, other values, because now we start having a market. In Brazil, as Ken mentioned, we use fat to boil water, to produce steam. It's crazy, but this was the only use we could have. As Charles told, these are the UN SDGs. And I will approach this one, affordable and clean energy. So historically, tallow has been the cheapest source of fat. Yep. Biofuels use rendered animal fats, no competition with human food, reduce the demand from arable land production oilseed production, and able to use low-grade fats. This is a little detail that somebody oftenly forget. We have a low CO2, and it can use directly to produce electricity. You can burn tallow to produce steam, to produce electricity. You not even need to produce a biodiesel out of the fat. You can burn it directly. Yep. So we see several initiatives like this Clean Sky for Tomorrow, which is the flight companies initiative. Then you have here in US, you have the same situation in Europe, and they are all addressing sustainable livestock to use. Same thing like in Brazil, RenovaBio, our program. And then we have this production, and this is the world production up to 2022, and then these are the forecasts. What we see is that biodiesel is going to grow much slower than renewable diesel and SAF. This is the forecast. And what are we talking about? What production, what animal fats are we talking about? Each country has its own metrics. Each country has its own way to measure how much animal fats they produce. So in US, about 4.4, all these numbers are from 2022. 4.7 millions, Europe 2.9, and Brazil 2 millions. Australia, 625,000 tons. Argentina, you see it all together because they don't share poultry, swine, and ruminant. They put everybody at the same number. And Mexico, this is their production to 1,037 tons. How much it goes? Pet food, 4%. Others, 71%. And other mainly animal feeding. Here, 25% comes animal fats. When we see Europe, Europe is a completely different world. They have this C1, 2 category, which they cannot use as a feed. They must use it what else but feed. So they go straight into the biodiesel production or the renewable diesel production. And a third comes also. But what it all over the years, how it representing? Look, the total consumption goes up, down, but it's not growing in numbers. The participation is the same in Europe. Brazil, same situation. Pet food, 6%. Others, 58%, and biodiesel, 36% of our the tallow of our fats. And how much the participation? This is the participation. We barely reach 12%. And what about the amount? Again, we are talking about average, the same thing. But when we go for species to species, we see that biodiesel is not that important for poultry oil, just 10%. Likely, the low quality poultry oil is going to biodiesel. Beef tallow, a little bit more than half. But when we see the choice white grease in Brazil, almost everything is going to biodiesel. Why? Because we don't have other market for this kind of, or we have very little market for this kind of oil. This is the situation. We don't have market, and luckily they have biofuel. Otherwise, what you could do? When we look to Australia, it's different. The poultry oil, almost everything stays to pet food. Almost nothing is using for other purpose. When we look the beef tallow, 76% goes to biofuels and 23% goes to stearine for other uses. Argentina, look how different. Almost a third they use as food. Biofuels, 28%. Pet food, 3%. Hygiene and cleaning, 16%. And oleochemical, 14.8%. In Mexico, oleochemical, hygiene and cleaning, 60%. Food, 12%. Feed, 24%. Pet food, 4%. They don't use it for biodiesel, for biofuel production, or maybe it's a minor number. See how world changes, how situations are completely different from one place to another. And I really like this saying. There is one paper published in 2023. Animal fats are rigid research, largely independent of the demand. For sure, nobody will gonna grow a cattle to produce tallow. Nobody will raise a chicken to produce chicken oil. Forget it. No way. If I can keep it as a food, I'll keep it as a food. I'm not gonna use it for vendors. So animal fat, a low footprint commodity, has limited supply. No, never doubt about it. Whatever is the price, our supply is not gonna change a bit because of that. So who can supply the biofuel industry? Easy. The vegetable oil production and uses. This is the uses. The use for biofuels grow 500%, and for food and feed grow 100%. If we look for the world population, we're talking about 1.6 billion of inhabitants. The population grows 30.5%, 8.5 billions, and the consumption per capita grows from 12 liters to 90 liters, that in one way or another, the population is going to eat. So, yep, the prices are higher. But when you have higher prices, farmers use the value to have better seed, to have more nutrients in the soil, to have better machines, to produce more. If you have low price of corn, low price of soybean meal, they're going to produce less, they're going to save money, they're not going to invest in technology. Easy. If you have a good return of your investment, you invest more, you do better with less because you have the resource for that. This is the situation. Is it bad to be expensive? Yes. But it's good to be expensive also. You must look the two sides of the coin, the same coin. And then when we look for the prices, this is US prices, US market price. The palm oil, soybean oil, rapeseed oil, and tallow, they go along. Some variations over the time, but it's barely the same. When we look, take a shorter period, they go together all over the world. Argentina, Brazil, soy in US, the Gulf, the best price, Indonesian palm oil, and Malaysia palm oil. We kind of have the same tendency. But who is the driver? This is the driver, the petroleum, the barrel price. If you have a high cost of oil, be sure all of oil will go together. And if we look on long term, this is the long term. Look how crude oil fluctuates and look how the vegetable and animal oils fluctuates. If you want to do something, if we are talking about replacement of the energy source, you got to understand the oil price. You got to be looking every time where is the tendency of the oil. Then you know where your prices is going. But it's very important to understand this situation. Pet food, often pet food, what kind of fat they want? They want poultry fat, fish oil, poultry oil, fish oil. Why? Low FFA and high in saturation. They need a very nutritious product. They cannot accept high FFA. They cannot accept peroxidized fat. They need to have a very good product. When we look, the feed can accept a little. We don't want a fish oil because it can change the meat taste. It can change the egg taste. So we don't want a fish, but we want oftenly something in between. Medium FFA to low FFA. We don't want that heavy fat. Why? Because tallow is solid. Think about you having your pipes in your facility that in the winter got completely solid. Or in the summer, depending on the temperature of your place. Forget it. It's impossible to use tallow, depending on your facility. When we go to biodiesel, they want something like this. They want actually, regarding animal fats, they want something with a lower unsaturation. Why? Because it's more stable than the light oils, than canola, than soybean oil. So they use heavier fats to have a more stable product regarding oxidation. And when we go to renewable diesel and SAF, they can accept high FFA. They want to have cheap product. So what they are doing, they are taking away the bad product out of the feed chain. They can take it, they can use it. So we don't need to be worried anymore. Oh, I had a bad product. What I'm gonna do? Send to the ones that can take it. Easy. We have market. But the most fancy market is hygiene and cleaning, cosmetics. Cosmetics pays a lot and very good for a product with low unsaturation and low FFA. This is the most expensive tallow you can have if it's a good tallow. Be sure about it. So it's good for vendors to have a huge spectrum of market. We benefit ourselves, we can render more, we can invest in more technology due to this reality. So, conclusions? I love this saying from a paper from AFIA and Denara. Rendering byproduct is sell what they make rather than make what they sell. We are going to render what we collected, what we reclaimed, and then we are going to put apart. This is best quality, this is medium, this is not that good. I can send it to soil amendment, I can send it to biodiesel, or no, this is premium quality. Let's sell for pet food, let's sell for, I don't know, cosmetics. So we would never go to a slaughterhouse and say, I need more protein in my byproduct. Forget it. They're going to turn your product into food. No way. So rendered protein meals and fats are the circular link of the meat, egg, and fishery chains. Sure, sustainable, natural, and affordable, as has been told by Dr. Aburto. Rendered product, we are not used because we are nice, because we are kind, because we are sustainable. The feed uses our product because we are cheap. No other way. But we know CO2 levels are rising. Decarbonization is mandatory. No way. So feedstuff with a low carbon footprint will have a robust market demand on the next years. Be sure about it. Whatever is low carbon, robust demand. Like tallow, lard, poultry oil, recovered grease, UCO, name it, meat and bone meal, feather meal, poultry meal, cookie meal, brewer's grains, everything will have a high demand due to the fact that has very low impact. So this is the purpose of the WRO, to show these numbers and to ensure that we have fair rules for the international trade. And one last message. We are natural. There is nothing more natural than a dog or a cat hunting a bird. Nothing more natural than a pig eating meat or a scavenger or whatever. We are 100% natural. And we have to take this lesson and this message with us, okay? Because this is our essence. Thank you so much.